the sign doesn't work.
Oh,
So you can go ahead. I just was giving it a second, but go ahead and start now.
Okay. I was like, I'm waiting for that on-air sign. Hello, everyone. This is the Town of Niskayuna Conservation Advisory Council for May 1st, 2024, and I'm calling the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. So let's see. Who we have. Vicky online.
We have Vicky and Georgia.
And Georgia's online, and is
Clark.
And Clark.
Mhm.
Okay, and then do you want to call?
Yeah. So I've got Vicky, Michaela, Georgia Bonton, and Clark Henry are online. And then in the room we have Ashok Rama Subramanian, Chuck Petrowski, and Simran Uturkar.
Perfect. So I think the first order of business is the approval of minutes for April 10th, 2024. Did anybody have any comments about those? I wasn't here, so I couldn't really.
So you can abstain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was also not present at the April meeting, so I shall abstain as well.
What?
I have no additions.
Okay.
I wasn't at that meeting either, so I'm the third one to abstain. This is Georgia.
So given that, I actually think I'll have to bring him back at the next meeting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because we don't have a quorum.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So those minutes will show up in June. So moving right along, we have a privilege of the floor. So we don't currently have anyone present in the on site. Do we have anybody online?
I did not receive any comments, and there's no one online.
Okay. So that brings us up to then I will close the privilege of the floor. I need someone to second it, or
No, you can just close it.
okay. And then as long as why don't we move forward to the environmental assessment form referrals? So that brings us to the EAF 2023 for 2530 Balltown Road. So let's start with that.
Okay, so Claire and I struggled a little bit if this triggered an environmental review, but we decided to be on the safe side and bring it to you guys today.
Okay.
But it's essentially, if you're on the corner of Balltown Road and River Road, there's the Chinese Fellowship Church. It's a fairly large building. They plant a lot of trees on the property, and their kitchen is currently a little too small to serve their kind of Sunday services. So they would like to add, it's right here, is in this little corner. So the existing building, I'll zoom in on it a little bit so you guys can see. I'm going to put this down a little bit too. The existing building is like this lighter gray. And then the addition is this little dark square right here. And then it's 25 feet by 28 feet. And the inside of it is, so here's like the existing kind of kitchen doorway in. And here's the wall like to the, I think, yeah, the gymnasium. So like this here is like the way to get, and so like you can see that kitchen's tiny, and this is the kitchen that they're proposing to install.
Oh, wow.
I have personally bought mooncakes from them, and they are absolutely delicious.
Okay. So
So Clark did a analysis of the parking for the building. They are a little bit short of parking. So the planning board's considering a waiver. I believe that it's kind of similar to the other GE site, I think, where we'd almost rather the planning board did a waiver for parking than require them to build the parking spaces, because honestly, the site is better off probably with. I've never seen it like maxed out with cars. They said they don't have a problem with parking people there. And the addition isn't like supporting additional members to the church. It's just supporting a bigger kitchen because the current one is inadequate. So, so given that, they could bank the parking and not actually build it, and that way, you know, you have more green space left on the site.
Right, and they're not disturbing any trees, they're not
Correct.
just,
Right now, I think that area is lawn, so they would be adding. I actually have to double check, but I think this is a new sidewalk.
they're not gonna increase the amount of things that they're doing there, or they're just,
No, he came to the planning board and he said they have about 100 people kind of for regular services, and then they have like 150 for like Easter and Christmas. But this is just in support of them doing their normal kind of after service, taking care of people.
okay.
And it looks like they already have the area purposed for outdoor grilling anyway. So I think what they're just doing is probably covering it and updating it. So,
Oh yeah, so I'll show this to you guys. It is currently just grass. If you want to see it on an aerial, I'll just share my whole screen here. You have to reorient yourself a little bit because the aerial is slightly different.
And then there's a photograph on page 16 of the packet.
Oh, there is. Okay. Oh, right, of what it'll look like. So the addition's going right on this square
Yeah,
right here on this guy. And there would be a little concrete sidewalk. Oh, yeah. Yep, there it is.
does anybody have any questions or comments, or?
If you're comfortable, I mean, I would like for us to go through the EAF and do a recommendation. We can include, our regular comments and send them to the planning board.
Okay.
What were you going to say, Ashok? Sorry, I jumped in.
No, you were fine. It's not a new construction, but is it okay to request our usual list,
No.
pesticide-free, charging stations, native plantings?
It also might be really nice to ask them if they have considered composting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we can give them the whole list. They seem very open, and just I'm just basing this entirely on their landscaping, but like maybe they would be willing to try some of that stuff.
Okay.
And Laura, in the packet, it says the applicant will be here to answer questions and present the plan. The applicant's obviously not here, so
Sorry.
did they postpone to a future meeting, or like they want an action today?
No, that was actually a carryover from the planning board meeting.
Okay.
We don't always invite them to the CAC meeting. I'm sure they would have come if we invited them.
Okay. I think I'm ready to proceed. Do we have a quorum to take a vote on the EAF?
Definitely. There was just 3 people abstained from the minutes.
Okay.
But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me just pull up. The little fellow. So it's just a regular short environmental impact statement.
So Laura's just pulling up the impact assessment.
Mhm.
For those of you who are online.
Okay. So will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. I feel like the church is allowable in our zoning, and allowing it to function and have a usable kitchen, so that it can remain a church, probably a good thing. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? So I'd say no, and we can just note there that they said it doesn't impact the number of people that are attending the church addition. Yeah. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
Do we want to? No, we'll put our normal notes in farther down, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Will the proposed action have an impact on an environmental characteristic that has caused the establishment of a critical environmental area? It is not in one of those. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? I would say no, and again, we can make that note that we don't expect additional number of people. And then also the addition of the sidewalk from the parking lot to the church might actually help. And then will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy, or does it fail to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Okay.
Well, this is where
Yeah, we do write some.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we can say no, but let's say, have they looked at solar?
Right, or even if they have looked at induction heating.
Looked.
I mean, you look like, out like a gas range, but
Induction heating. We should ask for energy efficient lighting and fixtures,
yeah.
which again, we've talked about it. Our stretch code will probably require it of them, but we should definitely put it in here anyway.
So I just want to get clarification. When you said induction heating, Laura, did you mean induction? I thought Ellen meant induction stove.
Oh, is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Oh, induction stoves. Thank you. I don't have an induction stove. I didn't know that.
No, but it's nice if you're, if you're about to replace something or start, it's a good time to do it and make the transfer.
And they're super energy efficient, the induction stoves are.
They're just, yeah.
Well, they're
I just got
potentially
one.
not energy efficient, but they transfer, it's the fuel. Instead of burning gas, you're just using electricity. So
Oh,
whatever your source
okay.
of electricity is,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, it does require different hands. And
well,
the initial startup is good, but
see, I'm against making specific recommendations like induction stoves. And I'm not sure it really saves energy in the long term, and I'm uncomfortable with getting to that level of specificity.
so I mean, I'm not asking them to do it. I'm just asking them to look at it,
Consider it.
to consider it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where my objection is coming from. I haven't seen any data that induction stoves are better for the environment, use less energy, or anything like that. As Chuck said, they just use a different form of energy.
Yeah, but they're faster. They're faster. They come to a boil faster. When you turn on a gas stove, if you're using a gas, if you're using a gas range or oven and you do not turn on your exhaust, as soon as you turn on your as soon as you ignite it, then that comes into your home. And it affects the well-being of the people that are in the home or in the area. So, I mean, you must, I've had a gas stove and in my house for years, but you do have to know, and the science behind it says that, that they are not as good for you physically as they are as other types of energy.
Well, I'm not an expert on this, but isn't New York State requiring that you can't install the gas stoves?
So I think it's a phase-in type of thing. I would just tell them to look at it and to weigh their options and I can pull up but I've worked in tons of kitchens and I can't tell you how many times I have gone into the Salvation Army soup kitchen or even, or places where I have, and they forget to turn on the vent, and they're turning on the stove first, or the ovens, or whatever it is. And people don't realize
The thing is too, with induction, not only do you avoid the use of, the leaking of the gas, because even when your stove isn't on, you have gas leaking. But as we transition into renewable sources of electricity, they will become more and more a renewable option, because right now gas is gas, right? And, maybe right now New York State gets about 30% of its electricity from renewables, but that's going to continue to grow. So they'll become more and more, green.
So what if we just, as a thing we said, avoid gas stoves, consider induction stoves or other electric devices?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say to avoid them. I would just say, look at, bring it to their attention.
Okay.
And I would also say that, oftentimes, they're looking probably at whole units, but if they're baking their mooncakes, they actually probably would prefer an electric convection oven, because they bake more even. That any commercial stove that you get that is gas, the burner, the unit that the unit burns out fast, and that then makes, no matter what you're doing, it makes it harder to regulate the temperature of your
Stove.
of your oven. Whereas an electric convection is always has a much steadier temperature, and you get quality after it.
I'm comfortable with the language
Okay.
of,
You okay?
kind of.
Consensus reached.
Sorry, I cooked in a lot of kitchens, and I fixed a lot of, I've lit a lot of pilot lights, and and replaced a lot of piping, and anyways, yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Sidebar.
Okay, so we'll say have the electric solar, consider induction stoves or electric,
Yeah.
energy efficient fixtures, and then the EV charging stations. Is there anything else we usually put there?
I can't, farther down, do we, just
I
like
think we
the
do farther.
pesticide free?
Yeah, no, that's farther down.
Yeah. I thought
Okay.
so.
So 7, will the proposed action impact existing private water or wastewater? I think that's probably it.
I think it will, but I don't think to a degree that's,
Like no to small.
yeah.
Check mark. Oops, sorry, I did myself in. Sorry, guys.
They're adding they're adding 2 prep sinks, a hand sink, a mop sink.
So small impact, adding some fixtures, some plumbing fixtures. Okay. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural or aesthetic resources?
No.
Yeah, I looked at the schematics. It looks like it's going to be in harmony with the building.
So, Laura, did you forget to check the box
It's
for
not letting me check them. I don't know why. Oh, maybe if I.
your
Oh,
cursor?
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Wetlands, water bodies, groundwaters, air quality, flora, and fauna.
Well, this is where I would,
is where we
yeah,
have
you'd
to do
stick
all
the consider well, not using lawn pest. I don't think I've seen pesticide signs in their yard.
I don't believe that they do.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to.
They can
And I would
continue to
also,
consider.
I would also encourage them to look into composting and to reach out to Cornell Cooperative Extension, because that would be a nice place to have a compost station.
Yeah, especially because they're adding a kitchen. It seems like a good time to have
Yeah.
that conversation.
Yeah.
To Chuck's point, yeah, if they're already, and Ellen pointed out too, if they're already not using pesticides, then Laura, when you send this feedback to them, like, is there a possibility to
Take the
include a link to the pledge?
Yep.
And I volunteer to pay the $5 fee. And number of people showed up on Arbor Day and said, I would love to take this, but I don't have $5 with me. And I just stuck $20 into the envelope and said, well, next 4 are free.
Goodwill. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So we'll put that on there and then encourage composting and offer the resources that we have at town and Schenectady Cornell Cooperative. Cornell Cooperative. So I think it's important to note that the addition's on top of grass and isn't causing any kind of clearing, just so that we're always consistent with our reviews. Because a lot of times we want them to protect the trees.
Yeah, the packet submitted, it does involve 0.02 acres in the disturbed land column.
Which would be the sidewalk in the new addition.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else we can think of there?
Native.
Oh yeah. So if they're gonna do
native.
landscaping, use natives. Okay.
So just as a sidebar, do we send them a list?
We have a list. Yeah,
that
we can.
That we send them, that we can send as well?
We can if they don't have a landscape architect or they're doing it themselves and they're like, what do you guys like? The tree council has a master planting list.
Great.
And it has mostly natives, some ornamentals that aren't natives, and then prohibited invasive species, like the Callery pears out there that are flowering right now. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? We'll just put that's a very small addition to
Yeah.
the scale of the site. And then will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
Okay, so does anybody want to?
Wait. I had a couple of
go ahead.
quick questions before we vote. The construction timeline and noise concerns for neighbors, which I suppose is the medical building next door, right?
There is a house. There's one house. It may actually be related to the church itself, but there is a house right there. Sometimes the ones that are like right next door are, but there's a house right. Oh, you can't really see it right here. See? Yeah, it has a lot of forsythia in front of it. So here's and there's some houses across the street. There's one house right here, medical building, and then houses across of Balltown Road.
Yeah.
So we can put as a note, submit construction timeline minimize noise and construction impacts to neighbors.
Okay. That was my only additional thing.
Georgia or Vicky, do you have any comments that you would like to add?
I don't have anything.
No, I was thinking about the plantings and that was covered, so I'm good.
All right, so are we ready to take a vote then?
We need a motion.
We need a motion to give a negative NASDAQ net impact to
Planning board.
the planning board.
I'll make a motion to give a negative declaration to the proposed plan.
All in favor, say
Wait,
aye.
we need a second.
Oh, we need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, well.
Okay, go ahead, Ellen.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Any opposed?
You have to ask him to abstain.
Yay.
Anybody abstain?
Perfect.
Looks like we're good. Okay,
Thank you for looking at that one with such a quick turnaround.
okay.
If only they were all this simple, right?
They're not.
Okay, so that brings us to our discussion items. So do we want to start with the Climate Smart Communities Task Force?
Mhm.
And do you want to start with the NRI updates?
Sure.
Yes, I can start with the NRI updates. First, thank you, Ellen, for all the nice emails and outreach to the Boy Scouts. My own son is in the Boy Scouts and I didn't make the connection. But Ellen was able to make the connection. Okay, so we are meeting monthly. Regular meetings are actually a good idea, and they are also required by our funding agency, which is the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. So we last met about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And the important thing is we have a date for the first site walk. We have a date for the first site walk. We carefully avoided the big players like NISCA Day and Regions Testing and things like that. So it is Saturday, May 25th. Yes, it is the best thing that we could do. So it is Saturday, May 25th. The consultant, Jim, will be in Niskayuna, and we will be surveying 3 parcels, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., River Road Park, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., the park at the end of Maple Avenue. Laura, does it have a name?
It's the Liz Casper walking trail.
The Liz Casper Walking Trails, named after a former town board member,
Mhm.
I'm told.
Yes.
And then that's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then 1 p.m. onwards, we are going to traverse the Mohawk Hudson bike path from Lions Park, however long we are able to go, and then turn back. So the public are, of course, invited to attend. We are trying to do outreach to all kinds of people. Ellen made a thing for the newspaper. I got like 4 people respond.
Oh, great.
And I already mentioned the Boy Scouts. They are quite psyched to be involved, and a bunch of Boy Scout leaders and the Boy Scouts themselves are already said that they will be coming. So it's formally included in their calendar at this point.
Have you heard anything back from the Girl Scouts?
I have heard from the Girl Scouts And the lady actually emailed me again. This one is me. I have not responded.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, that's
s-
good.
yeah.
Well, I mean, good that
Yeah.
they reached out. and
Yes.
that- Okay.
Yes. I
No worries. no
yeah.
worries.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will. My Thursday has some free time, and I'm working on a flyer for the September for the May 25th event with instructions that we will send out. And
Well, if you need help with stuff like that, I mean, maybe there's people can help you. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
Yeah, I can ask.
Mm.
I'm the one that I'm just, I forget to do these things, but I'm the one that put Ellen in contact with Mary Jane and Jess for the Girl Scouts. My guess is if you give them enough time, they can put together a curriculum so that they can offer a fun badge to the girls.
Okay.
But you have, huh?
Niskuna Girl Scouts?
Yeah, the Niskuna Girl Scouts.
Yeah, my sister does that. So.
Does she? Yeah. So Mary Jane and Jess are the leaders of the Niskuna Service Unit 209, and they can probably make a fun patch, but you have to give them enough time.
okay.
Laura, the point where I can use a lot of help from your office is the website.
Mm-hmm.
If we can manage to put the old NRI, the phase one on the website, and simply bring back the content that used to exist there. It explained what an NRI was, had a link to the Hudson River Estuary thing, which
Yeah.
explained the basics. So when I email people, I can just include the link in niskiuna.org instead of typing up stuff in the email, which these days people aren't reading through the emails if it's a long email.
Yeah, no, Ellen came by and we got really far on that, and then I totally forgot to follow up, but I could possibly do that tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll try to do that tomorrow.
Okay, that will be very and I can get the flyer done, and I can respond to the Girl Scouts tomorrow as well, and the 4 people who responded from the letter to the editor.
Okay, I
Mm.
also, I mean, today I included you and Laura on it, but I also, I went on the Niskuna High School website, and I just found all the clubs that I thought
Hmm.
would be an interest, and then any of the teachers, and I basically just sent them that information.
Yeah, I saw the email. I'm going to do a reply all to that.
Did you, can we
Well,
forward-
she might have gotten it. Did you
I don't
get
think
it?
she did.
Which one?
Because it's not her, because I did it only to the, I only did it to the advisors.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
No, you didn't get it because it's only to the advisors. I don't have access on the Niskuna school website, and I don't even know if the clubs are current on the Niskuna because,
Some of them are, some of them are not. They're in middle people.
so why don't, so how about I forward that to you?
Okay.
And then why don't you, do a little roundup at the high school,
Yeah,
okay? And then-
I can, yeah,
And then we can,
Get them
because we
from-
definitely need a few more high school students.
for
to-
the May 25th.
And Simran, there is an email from me to you dated Tuesday, March 19th. So that has some language that you can forward to anybody in the high school. The email address that I used is simranotorkar07@gmail.com. Is that current?
Yeah, that is correct.
Don't
And-
read private emails in public meetings. Check later.
Whoopsie.
Oopsie. Sorry.
I will forward you the one that I sent today. So
Yeah.
So you know which groups I
Mhm.
contacted and which advisors I contacted. So I will send all of that to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I got the other one, but we can't like make the monthly meetings because they're usually during school. But I think I can get a few people to come to the walk, I think.
Okay.
And I should be able to finish the flyer and send it off to everybody by close of tomorrow. So that's all I have with the update of the natural resources inventory.
Okay, perfect. Sounds like we're making some really good headway.
And
Word.
then after that one, we would schedule our next site walks from there, right, Ashok?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you and I have to work with Jim because we're gonna swap out a site for the Stanford Park. Pick a different one, right?
yeah, because it was already included in the.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back. Sorry, I lost my little notes here. Hold on one second.
Okay. So my big takeaway is do website tomorrow.
Okay,
Um,
I've lost my little notes here. Hold on.
number 2 is the GHG emission inventories and government climate action plan.
Okay,
So the last meeting, we had a really good meeting with Jim Younger, our consultant.
okay,
I thought that the Climate Smart Task Force had a really lot of good questions for him. He has been researching some of the stuff that we want to do, and in the interim, we've been working on making sure that all of our energy data is ready to go for him. I was working on it a little today, and then Simran came by after school because she's my intern. How did that go? Okay, so she started to input a bunch of different meters and catch it up to at least December of 2023.
Perfect.
We don't know if we'll be able to get the 2024 data quite yet or not, but we'll have it all caught up to December of 2023. And Simran was doing that today when I left her, so I'll double check what she did, and then whenever she can come by after school, she'll catch that up because she's also helping me with the comprehensive plan survey. So that should be ready to go, and then I'm hopeful that we should have maybe some more data for you at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, well, that sounds great. All right, so shall we move on to the ongoing initiatives? So that's the Climate Smart Communities Task Force. I feel like you just covered that.
Yeah.
And then,
The only thing I want to add on the Climate Smart Communities Task Force is that Vicki and I, we were working on the Quiet Niskayuna initiative and found out that possibly we can fund it with an EV fair. So I know that Vicki was working, and which will actually be part of our Climate Smart Communities stuff. So I don't know, Vicki, did you just want to talk about the EV fair? Oh,
Yeah, sure. So I called Portia because Portia Zwicker, who had organized the EV fair a few years ago in Niskayuna, and then more recently in Schenectady. And so she gave me the name of a woman named Kate Crook. She's the president of the New York Electric Capital District EV Association. I joined their Facebook group, and she will help me, recruit folks who have EVs to participate in the fair. Sorry, my dog's barking. And so I did look at my calendar, and the date that works best for me is the 20th of July. We can't do it too late into like late August or September because that interferes with the Schenectady EV fair. And so the Electric Vehicle Association really doesn't want two of them. They feel like it'll draw people away from that one. So, but she said July should be fine. And I honestly can't do it in June or August anyway. So hopefully that is a date that, sorry.
that's okay.
It would coincide with the farmers market. I was thinking like 9 to 12. In addition to getting folks through this Facebook group, I'm just talking to people that I know personally who have electric vehicles and asking them if they want to participate. And then I don't know what you think, Laura, about this, but to me, one of the reasons obviously that we're doing this is so that we can educate people on EVs and more people will hopefully purchase them, and that we'll get points. But I think plug-in hybrids are a really great option too. And I would love to just include plug-in hybrids in the EV fair.
Yes, I absolutely think it is relevant and appropriate to include the plugins at the EV fair. The reasons Vicki is asking is because when we do this, hopefully it encourages people to buy cars. We only get points for full electric vehicles,
Okay.
but the world is better off with hybrids as well as full. So we wouldn't want to discourage people from starting to take the steps towards electric vehicles. So I think that plugins for the fair are perfectly fine.
I know, I know three people, one of us being them, that I know have electric vehicles. So,
All electric.
Actually,
All
that was
electric.
going to be my next thing, if anybody knows anyone. So
I
that's
know.
fantastic.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I will, how many do we need to have here in order to?
Well,
I know other
you know, last time they did it, there were only 10. Definitely want more than that. But we don't want to take up the whole parking spot either, parking area, because people need to park for the green market. I don't know. What do you think, Laura? Should we limit to, I don't know, 25, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think 25 would be good. Another thing we could check is I remember at the last EV fair there were some really unusual, like maybe like there were some really unusual EVs that I'd never seen, which were cool. But you know, if we had like 5 people who wanted to come with Model 3 Teslas, we love Model 3 Teslas, but maybe we should only have one of that kind and then have
Okay.
more. Yeah.
All right, I will review they're all three of them are Teslas, so I will get the model numbers and what they are. So, yeah.
Variety is definitely a good thing.
I knew somebody who had a Leaf, but they just moved out of town, so.
That's okay because we can actually bring our cars out. The town has Leafs.
Okay, perfect.
But you know, they don't even make them anymore. They're not making them anymore.
Okay.
But they are a great car. They are so great.
Okay, so does that bring us to the land preservation tools?
Yeah. So I just wanted to tell people that Vicky's doing that, which I very much appreciate. I am going to submit our plan to the state, and if they approve it, we're kind of on the hook for the EV fair, which I'm not worried about. And then from the moment that I submit it, all purchases of EVs in the town of Niskayuna will start to count. So I'm going to submit that sooner rather than later if we're comfortable with the EV fair. Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
No, that's a quick question. So that's Niskayuna residents buying an electric vehicle anywhere, or is it electric vehicles sold in the town of Niskayuna?
No, I think it's
Purchased by
anywhere. They
anybody.
get essentially if they register them to an address in the town of Niskayuna.
Great.
Yeah, so you could purchase them, you know, probably even from Canada, but if you register them here.
Okay.
And then our hope is that this is very similar to like the energy code rebate that we used for the composting plan. Like our hope is that if we can get a rebate, we might be able to try and get some electric lawn mowing equipment for our guys.
That's great.
Does this include if our school purchases an electric bus?
I don't know. I can ask them.
Okay.
Aren't the schools required by the state to now start purchasing electric buses?
They are, but yeah, they are. I mean, they have till 2037.
Oh,
No,
wow.
every year, almost every other year, basically, I go to the school town board meeting and I ask them to please purchase one electric school bus and to start building our
Fleet.
fleet and our power source but I don't know.
Yeah, I'll
It's been
check.
like
I'll see if
7
buses count.
5-7 years I've been doing it, so we still don't have one. So maybe this
I
year.
heard there was a real backlog in the production of electric school buses or buses in general. There's such demand for them, they can't produce them more quickly enough.
Wouldn't surprise me because I don't mind ever working with the school on this. But there's a lot of grants to get them very, very well priced with the grant rebates, like better than just buying a gas one. You have to do the grants, which may be why the demand is so high because
Right.
you can, like, schools can really write these things.
Yeah,
and get them
I
all
saw
free.
under that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different ones. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll check.
Is there a date for this?
So July 20th.
July 20th.
Moon landing.
July 20th, you said it's around the same time as the
Farmers market.
farmer's
9 to 12.
market, like 9 to 12:30 or something?
I was thinking 9. Yeah, 9.
Okay,
And we want to ask people to get there at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, right?
yeah.
They're being nice to bring their cars, so we don't want to push it.
Yeah, Model 1. A Model 1.
Okay, so that brings us to the pesticide outreach. So I was out of town, but Vicky and Ashok had the at the Arbor Day, they had a table, and I know that they did pesticide, Lomo, quietness, Fiuna, composting, NRI. How did that go? And do we get rid of, we gave / sold some signs and converted some people? Did we get them to fill out the forms and stuff?
Yeah, Vicky, you want to go first, and then I'll talk about what happened in the second hour? Because we
Yeah,
were
no, I
not
mean,
there at the same time.
I kind of, as people were passing by, I kind of was just like, hey, do you want to know about the conservation initiatives of the town? And, some people did, some people didn't. But yeah, it was fine. We got a couple people to take those last 2 compost bins, the indoor and the outdoor one. And people seemed, like Ashok said earlier, people seemed really, very amenable to taking the pledge, but they didn't want to pay the money, the $5 for the sign. But yeah, all the other stuff, I got a lot of, yes, I am composting, and yes, I am not using pesticides. So that was nice to hear.
And for the record, when someone pays $5, where does that money go?
So, it's mostly to recoup the cost of the signs.
Yeah, and then whatever left over, we're trying to use to purchase the flowers for our Lomo initiative
Mhm.
Excellent.
up on, which we have some seed we get to spread, hopefully.
Yeah, we have the seed, and we're just waiting. It was actually getting pretty close, but then we just had those thunderstorms. But we're just waiting for the ground to be strong enough that they can run the heavy equipment across it.
If there's any help needed, I will gladly volunteer.
Okay,
Yeah, Georgia said she wants to go out and spread the wildflower seeds for that.
okay,
Yep. Oh, great. I'm looking forward to it.
okay,
I did.
perfect. So,
Contrib-
let me just see. Vicki, did you have anything you wanted to say about quietness, Fiona? Oh, wait a minute, I'm so sorry. Yeah, did you want to, what happened, Ashok, in the second hour?
Pretty much the same thing. I know, Ellen, you started this pesticide-free pledge, and it's been around. This is the 3rd year of pledging, right? Fourth year, something like that.
At least 4 years.
I
Yeah.
think it's at least 4.
I think I'm really starting to see, not a dramatic shift, but a noticeable shift in the public perception. Like, the word is getting there that being pesticide free is a good thing. Like, a lot more people are already saying no, I don't use that stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. So I think, knock on the wood, right?
Yeah.
It's not my imagination.
We just jumped. We jumped from the land preservation tools, but I know you and I haven't worked on that too much.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say on that?
So last time we spoke, Dot Strayer mentioned that this should be baked into the
NRI.
the comprehensive planning document. So, I'm a scientist. I'd like to go with data, and this is a data-driven, data-based fact sheet from the Land Trust Alliance. Since we are hoping to finish early today, please permit me to read just one paragraph. Open space improves property values. According to numerous studies over the past 2 decades, open space also improves the local tax base by enhancing community property values, which leads to increased tax revenue. Economists call this the proximity principle. Property values near open space, and thus taxes paid on those properties, are generally higher than property values located further away from open space. And they cite one example, one study done by the National Homebuyer Survey. And this survey was done by the National Association of Realtors. The survey found that 50% of home buyers would be willing to pay more than 10% for a house or park, more than 10% for a house near a park or other protected open space. So I mean, this is cited data. This is from the National Association of Realtors for this document. Can I email it to the group? So, you know, it's cited, right? So it's not like somebody's saying their opinion. It is based on now actual data-driven analysis. So, you know, if we manage to preserve open space in Niskayuna, then that is going to increase property values in Niskayuna. And by extension, it is going to increase the tax base, property tax base of Niskayuna. So I wanted to say that.
Yes, that's a good point. Like rather than subdividing and using up the last of the land to increase tax base, because okay, you have another house, that could actually be devaluing all the other property.
Yeah.
You want to just keep it open space.
And this document also says like, okay, you know, when new properties are developed, the towns always have to pay for like, you know, sewer connections and snow removals and things like that. So
Ongoing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, new development up to a point is better for revenue. But I strongly suspect in Niskayuna, we may be past that point with the town approaching a lot of building.
Okay. Yeah. So share that with us, and then you and I and Dart will have to get together and have another meeting.
Okay. So that brings us to, so Vicky, did you have anything you wanted to say about Quiet in Niskayuna?
Not really. The only other thing was that we're going to be tabling again this summer at the Green Market, Farmers Market, I mean. And then I am still playing a bit of phone tag with the Director of Sustainability at the DEC because they are transitioning. I think I mentioned it last time that they are transitioning to battery-powered land care equipment. And so I want to see how that's going. But I hopefully will have something concrete to report next time.
And Vicky, if you need connections at Union College, you know, you have lots of people to reach out, and we have been talking about replacing our own gas-powered ones with battery-powered ones because it's quite disturbing to academic instruction.
Have you started the transition or just it's still in the planning stage?
I believe they purchased one, like, you know, your other person, right? Like, you know, oh God, why am I blanking out on his name?
John Marr?
Yeah, he knows a lot more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's my next door neighbor, so I
Yes.
know where to find him.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Good to know.
Okay, so that brings us to the composting initiative. So there, so in regards to that, the Niskayuna, the town of Niskayuna has, they have one. It's halfway built and in the spot in at the senior center. So I'm just waiting for Kayla. Sent her. She reached out to me and she let me know if she needed any help from me to finish it or what else needed to be done. So I'm kind of just waiting for that. I have like a gazillion ideas in my head on how to increase composting in the town of Niskayuna. So I'm just trying to do it step by step. So I'm waiting for this one to be done before I, before, I go ahead and tell her all my other ideas. And I'm really hoping that she'll just share the plans with me on how she builds these, and I can go ahead and just start building some myself and getting some other organizations like, churches or synagogues or schools or, that type of thing to be open to doing this. So
River's Ledge said they were open. Do you remember that?
so yeah, so I have like, yeah, so I'm hoping, so, I'm just waiting for her and her team, and hopefully, it'll be done very soon. She said it in less than 2 weeks, so.
That's great.
So that brings us to, the wildlife corridors.
Wait, one quick question on the composting. Like, didn't you say, or didn't you say, like, we worked with Laura and it's on the website now, the composting?
She came over and we were working on it, and we came up with a good plan, but then she left and I forgot to do the rest of it.
Okay.
I can't.
No, Ellen's very good at getting me to do stuff because she comes by and then we sit down and we figured it all out.
Okay.
She ran out of time and I had to go pick up Lily, and I just forgot to pick up the reins the next day. But we had a good plan for reloading the website.
Sure. I mean, Laura, like, everybody knows you have like a lot of things going on, so it's totally
not something I can
understandable.
do without her, because
Okay.
because I don't work here.
Yeah, I only ask because a couple of people asked me that, like, hey, regarding Niskayuna composting, can I find?
That's why I haven't held another composting
Yeah, because
class, because I don't have all the stuff up on the website, and I can't, I feel like we shouldn't hold another one until we have it up. So, yeah,
so I'll get back to that. Yeah.
I'll get on your, I'll be back on your. books.
Yeah,
I'll
because
call you next
that's what
week,
helps
and-
me.
And I will set it up for sure next week.
Okay.
Make sure that I
Well, when
follow
you
up.
said website, I remembered that I still had Ellen's website.
Like,
too.
I'm not at all like finding fault here. Like, we all can 100% agree that there are a gazillion things on your plate.
Yeah, but a website is
Maybe your
important.
intern.
Oh yeah, this is true. She was doing a lot of spreadsheet work for me today.
Yeah, maybe we can get your intern to.
I only get her like one day a week or sometimes
Oh,
two
okay.
though.
All right, that's fair. All right, so that brings us to Georgia and the wildlife corridors, and how is that going? Or do you have any comments?
Laura and I spoke, and we have a clear path forward because it's tied in with the NRIs. As that develops, we'll probably solidify recommendations more. But Laura sent me maps today that are great maps. I sent you an email back, Laura, and they delineate where there are opportunities for additional green space, where there are pieces of property that's already protected and property unprotected, and really creates a map of potential corridors for the wildlife. So we have that foundation, and as projects come to the table, we can pinpoint the specific wildlife using the NRIs in the area, and encourage conservation of green space and corridors for those particular animals, citing how important it is for them, for the town, and as Ashok just said, for the property values of the homes and businesses. So we're making progress.
So, George, a quick question, please. Are there specific species that you think we should be thinking about? Like, like a neighbor of mine said, like, he saw a
Yeah.
that one, the pileated woodpecker that's about the size of an adult's arm. And that's just like, oh my God, like, I want to see that. Like, do you have some specific species in mind?
I can certainly, develop a list. The species. Do you guys want to see species that are, federally protected, and there are mandates that then say, no development within a certain, radius, since these animals are here, for example, blackbirds, if you can believe it? Or do you want to just start with the inventory that we have and identify which ones are protected, which ones are endangered? Is there anything you prefer?
Um,
It might be a good question for Jim, actually, really.
mm,
I mean, like, usually when we're thinking about, like, when I'm thinking about wildlife corridors, I'm thinking like kind of the larger mammals like deer and foxes and coyotes, but I don't always think about like pileated woodpeckers. And it's like those guys are the very top, like keystone. If you've got a pileated woodpecker, that means you've got some pretty intact habitat somewhere. So that's
We
really
have them.
interesting.
I mean, I have them in my yard.
Yeah.
you have a pileated woodpecker in your yard?
I
My
did.
neighbor
We
is
had to-
annoying. My neighbor actually has one in her tree in her front
Yeah,
yard.
we
and
had
they-
to
they
take
leak
the
in
tree down
trees.
that he was in because
No.
yes, unfortunately, he wasn't living in it. He was just eating from it, and he was eating from it because
Got it.
it was completely dead. And I don't know why, but apparently apparently Niagara Mohawk or National Grid does not approve of dead trees that close to their lines, so they came and dropped the tree because it.
I mean, mhm.
Anyways, so
There are other things my neighbor has eagles in his backyard. They're nesting in his trees. We've got red squirrels, we've got, some flying squirrels.
'Cause
I was thinking of the larger animals like Laura was also, like you were, Laura.
yeah, I mean, I live on Hawthorne Road, and I mean, we have a coyote that is in our backyards.
yeah,
So,
one of the neighbors on Ruffner sent me videos of the coyotes.
yeah, he's definitely, yeah.
You can hear him too.
Yeah.
We're on Stanley, yeah.
Yeah, and we have,
You can
and-
on the golf course.
The videos he sent me, I think.
Yeah, but he's trotting through our backyards.
He
Which-
the same neighbor had a bald eagle in his backyard.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Saw it.
So that might be a perfect opportunity to see, if we can guide him to, other areas to
Yeah.
look and forage.
Yeah.
But like large scale corridors for bald eagles, obviously is like the Mohawk River corridor. I mean, they are coming in a little bit, but their main habitat is on the Mohawk River.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like keeping in mind, because like George and I have worked on like the larger scale maps, is looking at the habitat that you have for the bald eagles kind of stretching down the Mohawk River into the Hudson and being mindful of the bigger corridors and also the micro corridors in Niskuna too.
Okay. So, so that brings us to our last one, which is the renewable energy expectations.
So I got a list from a couple of you and I started to compile it.
Okay.
And I know even tonight, actually, we mentioned some things that aren't on my list yet. So I can put those on and then I'll send it out to you. And like I said before, what I'll do is when you guys email me the things that you like to see for site plan applications, I'm going to scour the code and see where we have the code for it and where we have just kind of a program. So for instance, we always ask for pesticide free, but there's a resolution from the town board of the town of Niskayuna endorsing the program. Like we actually didn't write it this time, but would theoretically be saying, hey, take a look at electric lawn maintenance equipment at some point, maybe. Then we can cite the resolution from the town of Niskayuna. It's not code, but we can say, here's the town board resolution where we adopt this policy. Here's the code, the energy stretch code that says you have to do this. And then here's, other things that we like for you to think about. And here's why. Because I know Clark dropped off, but he's a really big believer in trying to get like a wheel going with people where you're not just saying it's a good idea and then letting them figure it out, like helping them buy into it and kind of circling around a couple times before they really understand that it's not just something that you think is a good idea. Hopefully it's something that also benefits them. And then they like, it's like a circle. So he's going to help me with that. And I just need, if you guys want to, I know Ellen said you had a list,
Yeah,
just email me.
okay.
Yeah. Cause I've got, I'd say about 9 items on there right now. Richard did email me the bird safe glass that we talked about with GE. He thinks that should be a regular thing that we look at with new buildings.
And what about, I know that we always ask them for native, planting of trees. I mean, that was on my list as well. But I'm just wondering if we can just, where it stands with, when they take down trees, that they have to be, native to this area and not,
Ornamental.
ornamental or also, invasive. Where does that fall in New York State's?
I'll look. I have to
Okay.
look up some code. New York State prohibits nurseries from selling some invasive species, or they are phasing them out.
Okay,
But you guys know how much I love plants, and I still see them.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, maybe the year hasn't come due yet, but I was at Fadigan's and I was like, there's barberry there. There was barberry at Fadigan's. I thought they already phased that out. I don't know. So but a thing to think about, which I was just thinking about when I was making this list, is like when I apply for grants, occasionally DEC has this like, it's literally like a climate smart checklist, and you just go down the 10 questions, and it says, did your project consider this? If not, why? Did your project incorporate this?
that's-
If not, why? So maybe if we get that list and we say, here's the code, here's this, here's why, it may be something that we could actually ask an applicant to fill out
prior.
at the
Yes.
site plan application phase. And then they're thinking about it before they even come here. And then we can have the conversation with them when they get here, and maybe some of it will already be incorporated.
Yeah, I really think it's time that we stop with them getting here and saying, we didn't, it's already underway. We've already done all of this.
Yeah, because we actually don't have a lot of site plan application questions right now. Like right now, it's literally just a paragraph that says, tell us what you're doing. So
Mm,
like we could have a environmental assessment form supplement
great.
that
Yeah.
says, here's what the CAC looks at when they're reviewing a project, and they could pre-fill it out
Perfect.
if they were coming here. So let's get those questions going, and then we'll cite them to code, to policy, or to at least good reasons.
Okay. Sounds great. Does anybody have anything else? Any thoughts, questions, comments? Vicki and Georgia, how are you guys? Good?
Good. I love what you just said, Laura, about, a supplement to the EAF. I think that's a fantastic idea. Also because the EAF is phrased very often negatively, like, will this impact negatively? And and this is a positive. These are positive attributes that we want to encourage.
Yeah, because we can write it similar to the DEC questionnaire. It's kind of like bonus points, like where can you incorporate this into your plan?
Exactly.
Okay.
How can we help you?
How can we help you?
How can we provide the information you need?
And P.S. You'll save a lot of money if you do this. Like,
That's right.
seriously? You
Why is
will.
it's in your best interest. Let us
Yeah.
tell you why.
Okay,
And
great.
that's so important. I'm just going to dovetail on that because even with like the wildlife corridors, it can be, I've been in that situation where, I've had squirrels in my attic and I wanted to, get rid of them. They were flying squirrels, so they were protected. So I had to like go through this whole shenanigans for the flying squirrels, But as a homeowner, if you can phrase it in a way that's like, oh, this is beneficial to you, it will help everybody, then the resentment goes away and you're like, oh, great, a solution. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
instead of saying to someone, oh, you have this woodpecker in your backyard that you've never heard of, and you can't take down this tree that might be, ready to fall on your house, instead you can, maybe we can come up with a solution. Create a wood hotel for your woodpecker and other insects in your backyard. Problem solved, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's a great, I think that would be a really great addition because it will open people up to doing things that are good for, the environment.
How about people that are in-house? Do you have anything? Are you guys good? All right. So I believe then we are going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting for today's May 1st, 2024. Need a second for sure.
I'll second that.
Great. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so that's it.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Thanks,
Ellen.
everyone.
Thanks, Chad.
Goodbye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Are we?